Hey guys, welcome into the PuggoReborn channel. Today we're going to be going over my US starter guide for the research tree. I'm going to give you what I think is the best composition for a new player. Granted, again, to keep in mind, this is for new players. If you've been playing the game for a while, check out the very end of the video and give me your thoughts on the composition I'm putting before the newer players. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So as you're starting out your campaign for the US, these are some things that you need to keep in mind if you're a brand new beginner, you've never played the game, or you're trying to learn the mechanics. This is the best way to learn it. This is how I ended up coming up with my guides to help everyone else out, okay? So starting out with your difficulty, you want to keep it at easy. Also makes it so that the infantry that you're facing has less HP. Then your economy you want to have very high. This allows you to get more resources per mission as well as more research points. And then finally, you can do whatever you want with campaign size, but specifically enabling Fog of War, you want to turn that off so you can see what the enemy's doing at all times. Now, I understand if you're going to say, well, Pugger, that's cheating. I don't like doing that. It's a pride hitter. I get it. Okay, I get it. But the way to learn a game is to dissect it from the inside out. And sometimes it's by just seeing what the hell the AI is doing. If you do this, it's going to make you way more effective against the enemy. So now, let's look at the next core tenet of this guide. Whenever I make these videos, I always try to stress one thing, and that's core unit, okay? A core unit that you start with is going to dictate how you proceed going forward. Starting out, a core unit, you're either going to put support around it, or you're going to upgrade it. That's what the whole idea of this is. And as you get better at the game, then you can branch out, try new things, and totally destroy the competition. The main thing as to why you're starting so easily with the Fog of War off is so that you can actually understand the AI and how to counteract it with that faction. So again, the US is a very interesting faction. When you go into the research tree, I'm going to just tell you right away, get that call in stage 2. You're going to look as we go down the tech tree. It's not as crazy. I feel it's not as crazy as some of the other factions, specifically the Soviets and the Germans. The main thing is that you don't have as much things to play around with starting out, and I'll explain that as we go. So the first thing I'll say is the officer going into the infantry platoon. You can actually use the infantry platoon and use that as one of your core. They only cost 127 resource points. They come with a total of 10 units. There is a commander in there as well, so he can take points really fast. Of course, they all have the M1 Garand, and they also have, or they should have 200 health. These guys should have 200 health and on. Next, though, is the weapon skill. Weapon skill at 3 is great. It's average, but the reason why I'm saying it's great is because you're using the M1 Garand. It's an OP gun. Simply put, it's an OP gun. It's semi-automatic. Nothing else can really compete with it from day one on. You don't have to get crazy. Even these guys right here, the 45th Division, they only have a skill of 2, and it doesn't bother me none. And the only reason it doesn't bother me is because of the fact that I can just hammer rounds, whereas they can't. The enemy can't. So just keep that in mind. All right. So moving on, you could end up using the Infantry Platoon HQ squad. They are very, very good. As I go down, though, to the infantry, there's a lot of infantry. The U.S. has a boatload of infantry. And while I'd love to sit here and explain every single one of these guys. In terms of your core unit and where you could build from, you'd want to do the 82nd Glider Squad. So the 82nd Glider it's just shy of an elite squad. Their actual health is 300. Their stamina is 200. So, it's not crazy. 375 is elite, so they're just shy of the elite category. They also are just shy of the elite category with a weapon skill of 4, but they do come with some really nice units. They do have the Grenadier Rifle. They have some real tactical uses there, and then finally, towards the end of the group here, the Automatic Rifleman. This guy can absolutely hammer with the bar. The bar is fantastic. Love that gun. So you could build these guys out. It's going to cost you 7 points. You'd only give you 3 points left. You'd have to really pick and choose what's going to help you as a fallback. But ultimately, if you wanted a really good infantry, you'd start there because they are just off the cuff, close to elite. Besides that, you could go with the rifle squad just as a support to your core unit. The rifle squad comes with 12 units. They do have grenadier. The scout guys do not have extra range, unfortunately, but you do have that automatic rifleman as well, and he does have the bipod, which is pretty cool. I don't know that the bipod actually makes a difference. If anybody does know this, let me know. I've never seen a difference. So, and they have the ammo bearers with them as well. They do cost a little bit more when you buy them to get them on the field. So there's that. You could go with an engineer squad. It comes with a bunch of different stuff. Mines, AP mines, so on. You could do all that. For starters, I would say just avoid that for now because it's a lot. It's a lot of micromanaging, and you're just trying to learn the game, so just keep it simple. Now, as I go down, you also have the cargo trailer. We might be grabbing that in a second here. I'll explain in a sec, but ultimately, it's a ammo crate that is on wheels. You can hook it up to a vehicle, and that will, while you're fighting, will actually give the unit ammo. It can also give any units that are within range ammo. We have our engineers. We won't worry about that. No reason to use those right now. You have your like the 30 cals here and the 50 cal. Just again, these are ones that I don't go for usually, and my reasoning for it is because everything that you use has a 30 cal or a 50 cal, and the problem with these is being stationary like they are. For whatever reason, any type of artillery sees these out there and they just immediately kill it because it's a prioritized threat. So I don't go that route. If you wanted to give them a shot, by all means, give them a shot. Maybe you have more luck than I do. The mortars, you could go with mortars. Mortars are wildly inaccurate. However, like the 60 millimeter mortar, I've actually come to really like that one. It's cheap. You can get a bunch of them. I like using them on defenses, but in terms of attack, you can use them for attack. But yeah, that's one that, again, this is one that you'll play around with later on. It only costs 1 research point, so have fun, try those. Now, all the half tracks, really, all the half tracks have one thing in common. They are paper thin, okay? All of the half tracks are paper thin, and this is a very big deterrence on my end, but they're ultimately glass cannons. They are the epitome of glass cannons. So all the hull armor here is 6.4 pen. There are additional armor up to 12, but ultimately really low, 6.4. 6.4. Even the really cool quad cannon right here is 6.4. Keep this in mind when you're getting these trucks. It is really cool, but they have their issues, okay? You can't get the mortar carriers unless you end up going with the mortars, so that's out of the question for your starter. You could end up going this route here. You could go with the half tracks going all the way down. Again, just keep in mind, all the half tracks are paper thin. They do have the CGMC M15A1. Now this is an incredible vehicle. This is easily, in my opinion, a core unit. If you've never tried it, I'll show you. This is it right here. It has an autocannon on the back, which is the 3.7 mil, or sorry, 37 millimeter. If it was a 3 point, it's the 3.7 centimeter, but it's 37 millimeter. Anyways, I don't know why I'm explaining that. The point is, it's a 37 millimeter with 250 cals on the side, and while you're firing the autocannon, the cool thing is the 50 cal is manned by 2 different people, so you are not controlling the 50 cals. They are being extra support while you're firing. So it's a lot of fun to actually use this. The other thing that's very tricky is this is kind of glitched. You can turn the cannon to the front of the truck and it goes straight through the truck. And it doesn't do any damage, of course, but you can shoot out the front of the truck, no problem. So while you're driving, that thing will just do. This thing can kill everything through 4 days, easy. 5 days, as long as you're broadside, you can wreck things too. But man, if you put this behind a bush and just use that, it's incredible. It also has a towing capacity of 3, so you can tow anything. You can tow anything with this. Just phenomenal. Again, one of my favorites, a very good core unit. The next thing down, talking about the quad cannons, you could end up doing something like this, all the way to the quad cannons on the back of that truck. Again, I know we talked about paper thin. I was kind of hitting that home. US is very unique. I have my issues with the US when you're picking stuff. It makes it a little bit harder to come up with a good composition. Some people may disagree with that, but you are a glass cannon. You're just gonna, when you get hit, it's gonna suck. The 50 cal, the quad cannon, very, very good. The range is good, but the issues that can ensue and the points that you have to give up. In order for me to do that, I have to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's just scrap all that, because that's a lot of points to have to give up. Try just the quad mount. The quad mount is the alternative to all of this, and I think it's one of the better AA guns in the game, and one of the best infantry killers. It's one of the best light vehicle shredders. It's low to the ground. You can put, when you set it up, you can put sandbags around it. Really effective, great stinking unit all the way around. You can use this through your whole campaign. It only has a 10 manpower cost. You can hook it up to anything, bring it wherever you need to go. It's a lot harder to hit than you'd expect, and it hits like a truck. So this is a fantastic one. You could easily take it for 1 point. Why not? It could be it's like in between a support and a core unit. It's just not mobile. You know, that's the problem. It's very slow is what I mean. It's mobile, but it's very slow. Next here, and this is going to be more controversial probably to the community, but the 75mm M1A1, I hate this thing. It is the worst, in my opinion, of all of the 7.5, 7.6, 7.5 artillery cannons that you can get right off the bat. I cannot stand it. It does the main reason why I don't like it, and the only reason I don't like it, while it does have the heat rounds, which is really great for taking out tanks, the problem is it doesn't have a good arc. The arc is terrible. A lot of the cannons can aim higher up, get over something, and you're gonna find this thing needs to have plenty of clearance to be able to shoot over. It is deadly accurate, sure, but for accuracy, it gives up that arcing ability. So I'm just not a fan of it. The only reason I grab this is so that I can get to the howitzer, or if I can get to this one here, the 75mm T30. The T30, however, in my opinion, is one of the better of the vehicles that have an artillery on top, or has artillery inside. These 37, you can see it has a lot of ammunition. This thing is actually higher up. It actually has a really good arc, as you can see with that plate. The plate is holding up. Is high, so you're actually protecting people. And just keep in mind, while I do talk about these being glass cannons, this is one that you're sitting farther back and shooting in, or shooting over something. So you're perfectly fine in this. I don't know if it's just a design flaw with this, or I don't know. But you can't start out by using the 105mm howitzer. The reason is because it's cost too much. It's like 700 resource points, so that's pretty much out the window. You can probably see by now, besides the click word right now, which is a glass cannon, you're probably also going to notice there's not a lot of options, okay? Really, there's not a lot of options in terms of a core unit, something that can take a hit and keep on moving, right? It's like Rocky Balboa. There's not many of these. As we go down here, a lot of people like the M20, the M8 Greyhound, and the M8 Greyhound. Like, that was the early Greyhound and the late Greyhound. Let me explain one thing with these. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 8, 9. You can get all the way to the end, but why would you? Well, most people will tell you that these are incredible because they have bazookas, they have rockets inside of them. Soldiers can run up. You can take a bazooka out of the vehicle, and you can use it to take all the rockets. So you pretty much have an AT unit with this. And also the 37, sorry, I keep saying 37. The 37mm cannon on top, really nice. The 30 cal on top, really nice. But again, paper thin. This is why I cannot recommend this as a core unit. I can recommend it as a support unit, and absolutely think it is a very, very good idea to have one of these on your team. I don't think it's a good idea to have as a core unit because 19 pen is not good. You are going to get shredded with this. It is good for running in, taking a hit, and getting the hell out of there. It's a hit and run vehicle. But I would not use it as a core. So there's your options there. This, the M15A1, this is like a small version of it. It's a Jeep that has a 37mm cannon on the back. This is a lot faster. You can fly in this thing. I can't remember if you can shoot out the front of it. I've used it a few times. I don't think you can. I could be wrong, so don't hold me to that. Either way, if you want something for a hit-and-run vehicle, this could be really good for you. But again, no armor. I mean, the hull armor is 2, so just shooting this with a bar can destroy it. So Just keep that in mind. Guys, before we get into the Stuart tech tree, I want to say that it is going to get a little spicy because of my thoughts on it, and I hope this will reveal some things that people didn't know about the Stuart in the first place. Besides that, I want to offer up a challenge to the community that watches this video. The first comment that has 20 likes on it talking about a unit that I didn't talk about within 10 research points, and you feel that it is the best of the units that I'm talking about, I will make a video on that unit in depth guide for that unit and a change of heart if possible. I'll do like a change my mind on my own, okay? But I need 20 likes on whatever comment that says a specific unit. So with that, I'll be waiting on it. I'll be watching. Let's get back to the video. Now we're at the tanks. We have the M3 Stuart early. We have the M3 Stuart late. We have the M3 A1. We have the M3 A1 Stuart, or I'm sorry, M5 A1 and M5 A1 late. Okay, so what should you do with this, right? What am I going to say about the tank? This is incredible. This is your core. This is the elite core for all of these things that you saw. This is the elite. This is my opinion, is what you need to have starting out. And the reason that I say the M3, the Stuart to start is really important is because it has a great deal of armor. Before I get into that, though, you have to know some things that kind of suck about the M3 Stuart as well. So yeah, you're giving up 5 points. That gives you 5 more points to mess around with if you just stick to the early, and you can go through the late and the M3A1. A lot of people stop at the M3A1 thinking this will be perfect. I'm going to go right to the M3 Lee. That's fine, but there is an issue here, and I want to explain it because I think a lot of people don't realize this when it comes to the Stuart, at least the early versions of the Stuart. This is a Stuart. Okay, it has 5 30 cals. I'll zoom in here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the turret, and 5 on top. You just put a soldier on the back of this. You just have to add a soldier to the tank, and you have a guy shooting off the back. That's 5 50 cals. And a 3.7 or 30. I don't know why I keep saying that. 37 millimeter cannon on top there. This is fantastic. The armor is great. The hull is 44. Panzer IIIs. I think they can get up to 40 armor. So that's a Panzer III. So you're automatically well and above. Granted, the Stuarts in general, these Stuarts were earlier war, so that makes sense. Earlier, the original designs, right? And they got better. Obviously, you can see how much they've come from that to this. Like, that we're talking like looking a little more modernized here. But that's neither here nor there. My point with this is, while that is really cool to have all that firepower on it, first off, this siding, the side wall here, is very, very thin. Okay, so you do not want to be on the side and get hit by anything. Okay, that's very thin. So just keep that in mind. Also, these the glass holes here, they are a weak point as well. What really matters here, and why it's deceiving to see all the 30 cals on here, is because these are all not orbital 30 cals. They only stick forward. The only one that's technically it's not orbital, but because of the turret being able to move around, it can fire, is the one on the turret and the one up top. But these are not orbital. They can only fire in a straight line, and it has a very little range. I mean, it's not like you can't like look around. It's literally just maybe like a little bit of adjustment. They had a guy shooting here, here, and in the middle. So you have to have the tank facing something. If you don't face whatever it is and have it, the shots will go right past the enemy, and you'll be like, why am I not killing anything? It's because you need to be very cognitive when you're driving one of these, or have it looking down a street, that you're holding a point where it's just going to hammer in a certain spot. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Even more so, if I go to the Stuart late, same thing. This is even more welded up. Same exact thing. The only thing that's different about this, the late M3, was the fact that it had better turret armor. It goes from, what was it, 30 something, 30, I think it's 39, 38 turret armor to now 51 turret armor. Very, very good. So this is fine. Now you might be saying, well, this is why I go with the M3A1. Man, the M3A1 is the worst of the three. Okay, let me explain. Here we go. They took out both of the 30 cals on both sides, and they left the one up front here, but that is not orbital. That's still not an orbital 30 cal. So you only have 30 cals on here. This one cannot turn. It can do a little bit of movement. That's it. Uh, that's it. It's not orbital. Okay, it can't go here, there, and everywhere. It has to stick forward. That is a huge downgrade. The armor is exactly the same. Nothing else changes besides them taking away. This maybe has a little more curvature, but it might be. Yeah, there's no other changes. So keep that, please, guys. Keep that in mind. This is not a good tank. It's just simply not a good tank. If you wanted to go the M5A1, you're going to notice, if you want to know what an orbital looks like, this is the M5A1. This is orbital. See how this becomes it's like, see how this looks like a little dome, or you can think of something else it looks like, right? But this actually rotates around and can kill things and actually be effective. Same thing with, well, and the armor's better as well. You get a significant upgrade with the hull armor. Significant enough. Also, if you ended up going with the M5A1, keep in mind it does have a tow hitch for something light. Remember I was talking about that 50 cal, or the quad 50 cal? Yeah, right here. The M45 quad 50 cal, you can actually hook this bad boy up and drag it around with you. So keep that in mind. So with all that to be said, there's not a lot to choose from. You think the US would have a lot more to choose from, but now I'm going to give you what I think is the most ideal composition. As I show you my composition, I want to keep in mind that my meta is going to be different from others, specifically because I cannot stand the 75mm cannon, the artillery piece for the US. It has great accuracy, but it does not have the arc. We talked about that, but it will not be in any of my compositions. I don't use it. I don't like it. So that's just me. I will show you, though, that this composition is amazing, and I'll explain the discrepancy in one thing that I did harp on. And then finally, the last thing I'll tell you is that in order for me to decide this composition is the one, what I did was I did 2 conquests with day 1, and I used the exact composition I'm about to suggest because I do it at the hardest difficulty with Fog of War enabled. And also I do it in a time frame. So I try to do everything under 10 minutes. This composition I was able to do at 8 minutes and 7 minutes and 31 seconds. Okay, so if I can do that, I believe with the Fog of War being off, this will give you time to like experience the game without feeling stressed. Okay, here we go. I am going to skip the infantry platoon, as we talked about before. I'm going to skip the rifle squad, the 82nd glider squad. I am going to get a cargo trailer. Again, bear with me. I am also going to go down the half-track line. We're going to get the M15A1, and I'll explain that in a second as well. Finally, we're skipping all this stuff. We're going all the way to the bottom because we only have 5 costs left, and we're going to get the M3 Stuart early. With that all being selected, I'm going to explain 2 things that are going to matter because I know I harped a bunch of stuff in this video. Number 1, I did say that the M3 Stuart late is better than the M3 early. M3 early because of the fact that the turret has more armor. It goes up to 50, I believe, compared to the 38. While that is really nice early on, it's literally a discrepancy thing. The reason that I didn't use that point for that and I use it on a cargo trailer is because the cargo trailer can be used as a way to constantly reload my guys, keep ammunition high on everyone else, keeping me fighting. I can leave it on the M15A1. It can constantly reload itself as well as restock the ammo. I don't have to be stopped for that. Also, at the end of the mission, when I get to day 2, I don't have to worry about the burden of having 400, because I did end up noticing this when I was doing it. I lost 400 ammunition from the first fight compared to 130 something the second fight. So having that ammo cart or that ammo trailer where I can sell it for almost the same price I bought it for and not have to worry about that dip was well worth it. Yeah. The other thing I want to say is if you guys would like to see those videos where I'm running through day 1 to show you the composition, I can do those videos as well. I'll link it in the description section. Just let me know if you guys want to see that. Okay. Now for my composition. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get an M3 Stuart. I'm going to get an M15A1. I am now going to get the trailer, and I'm going to get 2 squads of the 45th Division rifle squads, and finally a tank crew. I'm putting them all over in call sign 2, and this is how this is going to work pretty much. You're going to hook up that trailer, You'll have the squads. They are going to assist as you're pushing forward. You can use one squad at a time. If you lose a full squad, that's fine. When I did it, actually the first run I didn't lose a single person. It was crazy. The second time I lost about half my squad, but I was a little more aggressive. And the difference in that was literally 30 seconds. And just remember, guys, when you're using the M3 Stuart, grab a soldier from one of these squads and have him jump on the M3 Stuart. He'll jump on this back gun. Don't underutilize that, especially with, again, we talked about the orbital, or rather lack thereof orbital 30 kills on the front. Get a guy up top. And just have fun with it, guys. I don't do this because I don't like the meta thing. I don't like doing the meta because eventually it gets old, then you have to, and that usually pushes people out of the game, or it pushes people to mods, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a lot of things that people don't experience with the games or don't know because they don't try different things because of the meta. So if you want to have a good experience, you want to branch out, this is how you're going to do it. Again, if you guys did like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe for more content. Next will more than likely be the Russians, and then finally Finland. So thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.